How about doing this year differently? That's right. That's what we're going to be talking about on this episode, because New Year's resolutions, they've kind of lost their oomph. And why are we waiting till New Year's to start something new and becoming a new person? That's what we're going to be diving into. So what is it that you want over the next 12 months? Let's get on to the show. So today, with a new year, and depending on when you're listening to this, you don't have to listen to this in January. It could be anytime during the year, because your 12 months can begin whenever you want. But I want to talk about doing this year differently. So your year doesn't have to start in January. Just because you might be listening to this in February, March, or any other month, your 12 months can start whenever. Or you can just go till the end of the year, whatever time period you want, because I'm going to share with you something that I helped leaders take on. Here's what I noticed. And I do the same thing. Like, we go to a conference, we go to an event. I am actually packing for an event that I'm going to be leaving for in a few days. And I know that come the end of the conference on Sunday night, I am going to be so excited, so pumped. I'm going to wake up Monday, so excited to make all of these changes. But here's the thing. I'm not at home. I'm in a hotel room. And you're probably thinking, so? The problem is that I see this a lot in leaders. I see this a lot in the clients that I work with. They go to events, they get excited, they do all the learning. There's so much that they want to implement into their business, and they make all the plans, but then they come home. Their environment is the same. The people that they live with are the same. So all of these people are going to want to pull you back into the person you were before you left. And also, because your environment is the same, it's also going to be a trigger for who you used to be. So stick with me, because I want to share with you a simpler way to make changes. Because you are going to go home. You are going to be surrounded by the same people, but there are different things that you want for your life, for your business. So I started this when I was in leadership development. And there was an immersive program that I was a part of. I did some speaking at, and I also did a lot of coaching. And the clients that I had, one of the things that I would talk to them about, because they would make a long list of, here are all the things that I'm going to do different when I get back to the office. And I would share with them, you know what? Your team knows that you're here. Your team also knows that you've gone to other conferences, and they are expecting you to be all hyped up and excited when you get back and want to make all these changes. And they know they just have to wait a week or two, and then things will go back to the way that they were. So if you want things to be different, and this is what I would tell them to do, I want you to pick out no more than 12 things that you want to change. It'd be like one per month. Even better would be 6. Just 6 things that you want to change this year. And what you're going to do is you're going to focus on one thing. And you get to decide what that new skill is, what that new habit is, that new boundary. And you are going to focus the entire month, or 2 months, if you're going to do 6 in a year. You're going to focus entirely on that. Because at first it's going to be very ooh, this is very conscious. I have to be careful of let's just say that you're building boundaries. What do you say? I need to say no to more things, no to taking on more projects. I need to say no to volunteering to be on these boards, these committees. It becomes very conscious, but then it becomes subconscious. You become very competent in enforcing that new behavior. So that by the end of the month, hopefully by the end of the month, this will be easy. And it depends also, I'm just going to put this caveat in there. It depends on how often you have to do this. So like saying no to extra things that are tugging at your energy, that might really take 2 months so that it becomes much easier for you. But there are all sorts of different skills and habits that you might want to be implementing. And I know like the beginning of the year is just like, it's a new calendar year. We've ripped off. It's like, it's the next year, January 1st. It's like such a cleansing, almost like a baptism. But it's so easy to fall back into our old habits. So that's what this episode is all about. I want you to think about, what are 6 things that you want to change this year? What are 6 new habits that you might want this year? Might be, I'm going to use a fitness one first. It might be, I want to get fitter. I want to get healthier. Well, what do you have to do in order to get fitter and healthier? Well, you probably have to buy vegetables, or like you have to go shopping on the outer side of the perimeter of the grocery store and not in the center where all the processed food is. You have to join a gym. You have to hire a trainer. Maybe not. You have to decide, when is it that you're going to go to the gym? Are you going to have to get up earlier? Are you going to have to wait until the kids like get on the bus? You'll have to figure out like where are you going to do this new habit so that it's really easy after a while. Because if you've listened to any of my episodes where I talked about how I got into fitness and how it just was, I was like, you know what? I will deal with traffic one way, either going to work or coming home from work, because I worked in Boston. And I had decided, well, I'll tolerate traffic coming home at the end of my day. So that meant that I got up early and I drove to a gym that was near where I was working. So that became a habit of mine. So even today, I still wake up early. I still go to the gym first thing. That's how I start my day. So you have to think about, what are some of these new habits that you want? And what's it going to take? Like, what does it look like? How do you know that you're being successful at it? So if it happens to be going to the gym, you might say, well, as long as I work out 4 or 5 times a week. So you have to decide, like, what are those 4 or 5 workouts going to look like? Maybe it's, I want to start speaking more this year. So what are you going to have to do to start speaking more this year? Well, you might have to start reaching out to meeting planners, start doing some research. Who's hosting conferences that have your ideal clients in their audience? Maybe you have to go back and talk to previous people that you've spoken for. Just reach back out to them. Hey, it's been 2 years since I spoke at your conference, at your meeting. So much has happened. I'm just wondering, like, hey, I've got this new speech. I've got this new presentation, like building those relationships. Maybe you have to do some follow-up. Maybe you have to ask for referrals. But what if you made 1 or 2 phone calls every single day, Monday through Friday? How would that change your business? I can almost guarantee you that if you did that for a month, if you made 2 phone calls to get speaking events, you would be fully booked out for the rest of the year. Almost guaranteed that one. So maybe you're thinking to yourself, I don't know what I want. And I can't answer this question for you. But I do know that most likely you do know what you want. You might be afraid to say it out loud. You might be afraid to admit it. Or you might be afraid that you might not accomplish it again. Because you might be thinking, like, I remember the last time I set a goal and I just by week 2, I stopped going to the gym. On that 3rd day, I stopped making phone calls. On that 4th day, or by the end of the week, I stopped doing follow-ups. I got busy. I forgot. And it's these past memories that actually will hold us back. So what I want to share with you is that if you did know what you wanted, who's the type of person that could answer that question? That when they're asked, what do you want? You can answer. They can answer. I want you to step into that person who can answer that question and boldly claim what it is that you want. You want to get fitter. You want to get more visible. You want to get better at sales. You want to create evergreen content. You want to have a group program. You want to build relationships. You want to have a new website. You want to start blogging. You want to start vlogging. You want to start fill in the blank. Who's that person who knows how to answer that question? Step into that person and boldly claim what you want for your life for this year. And it's in making that list that you're going to be able to look at that list and then say, you know what? That makes the cut. That one makes the cut, because you might have a list that's longer than 12. You might just decide, you know what? I'm going to take Laurie-Ann's advice, and each of these, I'm going to devote just 6 of them, and I'm going to give each of them 2 months. And then you put it in your calendar 2 months later. It's just have some sort of a check-in. Here's what we're working on this for the next 2 months. But definitely have some sort of a check-in. It is so easy. If you've got your own online business and you've got your own CRM, you've got your own email platform, send yourself an email. Program an email that automatically shows up every Monday morning or maybe every Friday afternoon that asks you, how'd you do this week on, and fill in your goal. Something that constantly reminds you. Maybe you have to have it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You get that email. Reminds you to prospect. Reminds you to do follow-up. Reminds you to go to the gym. Whatever it takes. There is so much technology. I actually do have an email that I send myself, and it's a weekly check-in. It's in a Google form. And I go in there, and this is the way that I keep track of things, because the Google form is super easy for me just to fill out on the fly if I happen to be super busy. But I also adjust the time. If maybe Friday afternoons are getting a little too busy, let's try Friday mornings, or let's try Wednesday mornings, or maybe Monday mornings, or maybe Sunday afternoon when my husband's watching football. Figure out a time. Like, as you go through the year, you have permission to edit. Maybe it's not working. Too many times we decide. I just see people, well, this is the way that it has to be. And if it doesn't work this way, then I have failed. No, it means that you get to edit. You get to modify things. You get to modify the goal. You get to modify how you get there. You get to modify your check-in. So there's so many ways that we can do this. But also, once you've decided what it is that you want and you've put it in your calendar and you're figuring it out, I want you to decide and think about, what kind of person has this? Like, let's just take speaking. What kind of person has at least 2 to 4 speaking events on their calendar per month? What are they doing that gets them those 4 paid speaking events, those 4 paid, it doesn't even have to be paid. It can just be 4 speeches where it's just, they're positioning you in front of your ideal clients. Or maybe they're prospecting. Maybe they're building better relationships with meeting planners. Maybe they're reaching out. Maybe they practice their speech or a part of their speech every day. Maybe they're going on to Facebook or Instagram, some sort of social media, and doing live streaming so that they're constantly getting out there and getting more visible. So I really want you to think about, not only are you thinking about what you want and how you're going to go about working this into your day for the next 2 months for each goal, but also the type of person, so that you can just step into being that person. It's kind of a form of make-believe. If I were this kind of person, this activity would be so easy. like Alex Hermosi. I mean, he like runs gyms. He talks a lot about working out because that's how he started. Do you think that man doesn't work out for a week? No, he still works out. So that comes easy so like maybe you think like, hey, I'm going to think like Alex or like his wife who also works out. I personally love how I feel when I do work out, that I've had this discussion with people that the reason why I work out is for my brain. I work out for my mind. Because when I work out, I feel mentally fit, mentally strong, and I can show up and do the things that I need to do in my business. So that's part of the reason why I love to work out. So maybe that's something that you want to consider. Notice how you feel after you work out. Like what are some ways that you can start your day, start your morning off on the right foot? I guarantee you it is not scrolling social media. It is not watching the news, and it's not getting into arguments with other people. And it is not beating yourself up for what you didn't do yesterday. Today is a new day. This is a new year. This is a new month. Depending on when you listen to this, every day is brand new. You get to decide today that you want to be a brand new person. And here's how I want to be proud by the end of this year. I want to be proud and be able to say, here's what I did. Here's who I became. Here's what I accomplished. And if you are looking for some help to get more visible, to share your story, to craft a speech that is undescribable, that is captivating, tells the most beautiful stories, then reach out to me. I have a few spots that are left on my calendar, and I'll also share with you how to work with me, because there are different ways to work with me. Not just one-on-one. I have one-on-one, I have group programs, and I also have some DIY stuff. I will make sure that you are in the right program that's best suited for your personality and your business needs. So you can book that call at chatwithla.com, and that link will be down below also. But until next time, I just want you to think about how you want this year to evolve. How are you going to change? How is this year just going to blossom for you? Let's not wait and see. Let's take control of that today. So until next time, be in demand.